Dear diarrhea, diarrhea full of shit. Just playing on myself and I, no one else. So yo, I'm so legit. Just got a text from my supervisor. It was a group text. Um, I don't know who all was on it because I'm trying to think. I mean, I know everybody who works there. Like I said, um, I remember everybody's name and I can place their face with the name. I can, and I'm starting to kind of figure out. I can recognize their voice over the CB radio because some of them kind of sound similar. And anyway, in my last audio presentation, I had said, I was going to go to bed a little bit early because I didn't, work all day today. So I'm not as tired as I would usually be. So ironically, you know, I would go to bed early as a tactical maneuver because I might quote unquote have trouble falling asleep. Um, so like I said in my last audio presentation, I sleep fine. It's just I have a tendency to if I wake up, I enjoy waking up so I can fall back asleep, which sounds ridiculous, but it is what it is. So if I'm not tired, or less tired, when I wake up or whatever, to switch sides and hug my pillow, and I might think about drifting off to sleep with Katie Boo, and my arm's a little longer than I should, instead of just briefly thinking about it and then falling back to sleep. Oh shit. Um. So that must have been for like everybody, but there's more than that. And if it says 6 people, like when I, text my mom and my dad at the same time, it'll say 2 people. It doesn't count me as the sender. Um, and I forget, like if they send me back, kind of on that, so everybody's updated or whatever. I forget if it says 2 or 3 or whatever. But let's see. There's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. There's 7 of us, including the supervisor. So that would be 8. His son works there, so maybe he didn't include him, but I don't know why he wouldn't. I guess I don't know. Maybe they communicate. And he told him earlier, whatever. But basically, because it's raining and it's gonna rain into the night, I don't think it's gonna stop till like 9 o'clock or something. Just a light soak. He said, "Don't bother coming in. I'll let you guys know by 7 a.m." So here's the bitch about that, though. if we, if we don't work during the week, probably gonna be fucking working on the weekends, like the weekend. So, um, I mean, I'm not hurting for the money or anything. So, and like I said, these dreary days and whatnot. Although tomorrow it's supposed to be like nice, but it's still gonna be like all wet and muddy. But that's the way it goes. It's like that's the trade-off. You get the fuck off. And like I said, one might argue, well, you don't get to sleep in. But like I said, I pretty much sleep, 9 to 10 hours, and then I get up. Um, and that's kind of always how I've done, like even, I don't know. Like even if I would go to bed at like, midnight, I'd still get up at like 6, 7, or 8 o'clock. So even though I wouldn't really like want to, it's like I would wake up and I'd do an audio presentation or something, or you know, hump my pillow or something, and I'd just be up. But it's nice, because on the weekend, you're free and clear, if you're not working Saturday or Sunday or whatever your deal is, it's like you're good, If you want to stay up till midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, not that I would ever do that, but I stay up till midnight every now and then. I do try and keep on my sleep schedule, so. And like I said, with this new job, I think I still went to bed at like 10 o'clock, last Saturday or something like that. And again, I woke up at like 6, but that's 8 hours, But it's like, your brain's telling you, hey man, take advantage of this opportunity, Don't get up at 6, get up at like 8 or 9. I mean, you don't want to sleep too much. You don't want to waste the day. And like I said, you want to keep your body on its, sleep schedule. If you get used to sleeping, just not that I could do this, but let's say on the weekend, you sleep 12 hours and then Sunday night rolls around and you got to get up early in the morning, and instead of, going to bed at midnight and waking up at 10, I try and, which I know is only 10 hours, but only 10, but you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean? And especially with this job, and not to sound old and shit, but, like I said, my young buck coworker, he drinks, energy drinks, like multiple throughout the day, and probably drinks a coffee on his way into work. I do not. I drink water, and that's it. I don't eat anything. I just eat my food when I get home. So, the good old-fashioned sleep, is where it's at, man. You want to hydrate, don't fuck around with some hydrating Gatorade shit that's got sugar and shit in it. Just water, man. Water. Now, obviously, electrolytes, if you're sweating, you want to replace that. But, like I said, eat a banana during the day. Or eat a banana, mid-morning and eat a banana in the afternoon. Or some other fruit or vegetable that's got potassium in it, which is basically electrolytes as far as I understand. But that's just me, I'm an old fuddy-duddy. Fuck coffee. I ain't drinking coffee, man. I'd rather be, it's important that I get, you know. So yep. So now I need to stay up because I don't want, now if I go to bed, early, like I was planning on, well, like I said, then my body will be like, you gotta. He said, the text said, I think, what did it say? By 7? So he's probably just throwing that out there as kind of, So here's, there he is. There's this. Well, no, that's just that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See? I don't know. Not to overthink things, but anyway. But yeah, that's everybody. That's us running the cone crusher, and that's all the loader operators and the haul truck operators. There's also an excavator operator that might be down there, so there's a couple mechanics and stuff that kind of do some shit, but anyway, but But now I'm like, you know what I mean? I was all relaxed and looking forward to going to bed, you know, a little bit early, you know, and just sort of take advantage of, you know, the kind of the shift, you know what I mean? Like I said, you want to keep your sleep schedule and your body and your mind, you know, kind of roughly on the same schedule, but I was actually, you know, kind of looking forward. And like I said in the last audio presentation, you know, it's like that's why I was doing that because I'm less tired. So ironically, I'm giving myself more time to, you know, fall asleep, you know. But yeah, so, let's see, buy 7. Okay. So we'll assume that I'm going to get a call at like 6 a.m., you know. But 6:30. So I don't know. I'll probably still go to bed early. Yeah.